Hello students, today we are going to learn the fifth unit, that is modern portfolio theory, and this we are going to study two theories, that is Markowitz model and sharp index model. So let's begin. So Markowitz model was actually the name of the theory provider is Harry Markowitz. He is an he was an American economist. He is best known for his pioneering work in modern portfolio theory. He was put this model in 1952. So let's study about it exactly. So Markowitz model assists in selection of the most efficient by analyzing various possible portfolios of the given securities. So we have seen we will be having so many of securities, and this model tells us we have to select securities and then we put it in a portfolio and then we invest it. So if any problem happens in the share market, if one share is collapsing, other will give the income, so that there will be no much risk associated when we are investing in portfolio. If market increases, then automatically every prices increases. If anything happens, so one price decreases, so other shares, other stocks will give the return. So by choosing security that do not move exactly together, the model shows investor how to reduce their risk. And this model also called mean variance model due to we calculate mean and standard deviation in this. Looking at this graph, we know that the number of stock and portfolio risk, the more the individual stock, the more the risk. So more the portfolio included and lesser the risk. So if you look at the assumption of this theory, an investor has to certain amount of capital he wants to invest over a single time horizon. That is the first assumption. Second, he can choose between different investment instruments like stocks, bonds, options, currencies, or portfolio also. So the investment decision depends on the future risk and return. So the decision also depends on if he or she wants to either maximize the yield or minimize the risk. The investor is only willing to accept higher risk if he or she gets higher expected return. So let's study about the theory exactly, efficient frontier. Okay. So in this theory, the construct a risk or return plot of all possible portfolios. So we use the graphical method and we put the return and risk on the graph. So those portfolios that are not dominated constitute the efficient frontier. So if you look at this graph, so let's try to explain exactly it works. So if you see here, so this is the 100% investment in security with higher expected return, and this is 100% investment in minimum variance portfolio. So below line x-axis shows standard deviation and the y-axis shows the expected return. So if you look at this side, so here the standard deviation is also less and the return is also less. And when it compared to this side, the standard deviation is very high and also the expected return is also high. So it means that, so higher the risk and higher the return. So if we observe the line which is called efficient frontier here, okay, so if you see the points below this line, efficient frontier, are dominated one. They do not fall under frontier. And note point plot above the line also. So this line depict all portfolios on the line are efficient. Now going further, when a risk-free investment is available, the shape of the efficient frontier changes. So the expected return and variance of a risk-free rate or stock return combination are simply a weighted average of the two expected returns and variance. The risk-free rate has a variance of 0. So let's see that. So if you look at this particular graph, we find here a CAL line and a risk-free return. So here the option of risk-free is available. So that's why the line start from this side. And this is the tangency point of the portfolio. Okay, and this is expected return, standard deviation line. And this line is efficient frontier. And these are the dominated assets or stocks. So first one, the chart above shows a hyperbola showing all the outcomes for various portfolio combinations of risk assets where standard deviation is plotted on the x-axis and return is plotted on the y-axis. So in this, that CAL line, that is called capital allocation line, represents a portfolio of all risky assets and the risk-free assets, which is usually a triple A rated government bond, because those are the only which are risk-free. So tangency portfolio is the point where the portfolio of only risk asset meets the combination of risky and risk-free asset. So this is that point where risk-free plus risky assets are combined and invested. So the portfolio maximizes return for a given level of risk. So portfolio along the lower part of the hyperbola will have lower return and eventually higher the risk. So portfolios to the right will have higher return but also higher the risk. So if we see this, so this is, if you look this one, and this one. This is all about the higher risk, but there is a return is less. Again, this one, there is a high risk and high return. Again, this high risk and high return, lower return. Again and again this side. So these are all comes on the below the efficient frontier line. So this is all about the efficient frontier theory. Now let's study about the Sharp index model. What exactly Sharp index model comes and why there is a need to study. We just know we have done calculation of using portfolio return and risk, using the probability and contribution and using the formula, how much has been invested, covariance is to calculate it, correlation coefficient has to be calculated. So in Markowitz model, number of covariance have to be estimated. So if a financial institution buys 150 stocks, it has to estimate 11,175. That is n square minus n divided by 2. So correlation coefficient has to be calculated. So in Sharp believes that the total return of a security is totally linearly related to single index like the market index. So for example, if Sensex, we are investing in it. So how Sensex moves, according to that our share price also moves. So he says casual observation of the stock prices over a period of time reveals that most of the stocks prices move with the market index. So when the Sensex increases, stock prices also tend to increase and vice versa. So this indicates that some underlying factor affect the market index as well as the stock prices. So the formula to calculate this that is used is RI, that is expected return on security I, is equal to alpha, which is intercept of the straight line, or alpha coefficient we say, and next is beta, that is the slope of straight line or beta coefficient, and the market return, that is RM, and EI, that is error term. So according to the equation, the return of the stock can be divided into two components, the return due to the market and the return independent of the market. So beta indicates the sensitiveness of the stock return in changes in the market return. So this is about the top model. So problems we will solve in the classes.